I originally had something very different in mind for today, but while scrolling through comments after my For Alligator Kaiju livestream on the weekend, I saw a suggestion from someone who goes by MJ Destroyer 19 saying that it could be fun to try Minecraft mobs as Xenomorphs, and I was just like, yup, I like that better, let's go with that instead. It's been a while since I did a Xenomorph episode, and even longer since I did a Minecraft episode, so this could make for a fun little pairing. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's go.
Hit like if you want, subscribe if you feel like, but either way, enjoy the show.
Bustar Terminax mission log, quest 1, under new directives. Currently on contract, hunting down a bunch of forms of the species, Internissivus raptus? Nobody calls them that, they're flargon Xenomorphs. Ain't that name sciencey enough as it is? Anyway, I've reached the upper atmosphere of Minecron 4. The planets of this system are pretty exclusively used for their resources. Some people do live there full time, but most just come to the planets for working tours in the mines and fields, then leave. Probably good news for me. Less civs to get in the way and less bureaucracy to deal with. Can just get down there, hunt my targets, and get out. I mean, it is gonna be tougher than it used to be with my new self-imposed no-kill order, but that's what I signed up for. I want the challenge. No matter what those flargon bounty hunter forums and the Yautja jokers are saying about me, I ain't gone soft just cause I'm not killing things no more. Not killing is harder, you can't just pump things full of holes, you gotta find a way to restrain them and hold them on your ship and transport them. If anything, I should be considered tougher for not killing things now. Anyway, far as I know, there are 3 Xenos on planet, all within one cortex of each other, but each living in different terrains. One is wandering around the hills, probably going to be easiest to find that one. One is in a lake, that one might be a little bit tricky to track down, and another one is in the newly opened mines. Killed a whole bunch of workers and made them have to shut the whole mine down for the time being. At least that'll mean nobody's in there to get in my way. Of course, after I get those 3 locked down, I should probably go poking around and see if there are any more of those eggs down there. Don't want to hunt these things down just to be coming back here for more of them soon after. Even if it would be nice to see some more Xenomorphs. If I find any eggs, I've got some tech to seal them shut for transport along with the Xenos. Gonna get them all to Ishkonigan Major where there's an environment already set up for them. Whole planet is one big nature preserve. Best part of my contract's with the Ishkonians. After each job, I can spend as long as I want wandering the reserves, checking out the freaky and tough and cool monsters they got on planet. Anyway, first Xeno I'm after, I don't even really get how this thing survived. Xeno's gotta get implanted into the body of a living thing to grow in their stomach or chest or something, then take on traits of whatever they're growing inside of, then burst out of them and keep on growing. This first Xeno clearly got it into the body of one of these creepy green hive mind creatures native to Minecron 4, but those things have a bad habit of exploding when threatened. So I guess somehow one of these things didn't get the sense it was under any sort of threat while there was a cute little alien growing in its chest. Anyway, this Xeno is green in color, got 4 legs and no arms, and has a bladed tail. Far as I can tell from the reports, this thing should be on the slower side as far as Xenomorphs go, but the real problem will be figuring out a way to make sure it doesn't just explode once I get it onto the ship for transport. Wouldn't exactly be a good way to start off my first no-kill contract by having every critter I'm hauling getting detonated. Heading down to planet now. Mission log will be updated upon first capture. Now in this episode, I am actually putting all the drawings in the order that I drew them in, and I honestly fell back into drawing Xenomorphs really easily. I've only done a few of these episodes, but I've had so much fun doing all of the Xenomorph designs that I've done. I do think the second one of this episode is my favorite, but it's a pretty tough call. I'm pretty happy with all of them. And what's nice about designing Xenomorph stuff is there is so much different types of textures to different parts of the bodies to pull inspiration from, and so many different types of Xenomorph designs as well. Like, there are a lot of unifying features that they all tend to have, especially with the head and mouths usually, but there's also a lot of variety, both in terms of stuff that's canonical in movies and video games and comics and stuff like that, but also just from lots of really cool fan-created stuff. When I was first looking up different Xenomorph designs, I saw some really cool mermaid Xenomorph designs that I pull inspiration from more specifically for the last drawing in this episode, and then I saw someone else had done a really cool design of a Na'vi from Avatar if it had gotten a Xenomorph inside it. And just pulling from inspiration from so many different sources was really fun. Even though, again, there are unifying features between all Xenomorphs, I never found myself getting bored or feeling like this was repetitive. And I think all 3 drawings in this episode feel connected enough while also being different enough that I'm just super happy with how everything in this episode turned out. But first things first, let's take a look at this one. Mission Log, Quest 1, Entry 2. The first cute little rascal is all... The first target is all secured. Was about as friendly as you'd expect from a Xenomorph, but I managed to test something out before locking it up for transport. See, this thing likes to absorb electricity. It can get charged up, like the species it grew inside of, which can make it more dangerous, but to test out if the charge could keep the thing satisfied, I lured it into a cage off-ship with a taser stick inside it. The thing got in there, I closed the door, and it wasn't happy about that at first, but then it started stepping on the stun stick, giving itself a little shock, and it seemed pretty chilled out after that. Chucked some metal scraps and meat in there for the thing to munch on, then I set off to the mines to find the next target. I'm on track now. Had one encounter with the thing so far, but had to back off and do some observing first. There ain't much info on the type of creature this next Xeno burst out of, cause they only really discovered him when they opened this new mine. Chatted with some of the workers quick, and they're pretty convinced that this is also where the Xeno eggs came from. When they opened up this new mine, weirdly they found that there were already tunnels dug out that were like they'd been reburied over a long time ago. Dunno how the eggs found their way to infecting some of the creatures outside of these mines then, but besides that, what they said seemed to make a lot of sense. Someone probably found something dangerous down there a long time ago, buried them over, and moved on to another part of the planet. Not like there's a shortage of places to dig on Minecron 4, and it's been mined for so many centuries that it would make sense that not all the places dug into have been reported. Anyway, there's this weird green, sorta slimy vines growing all over the place down here, and it turns out I can use these to lure the Xeno out. In some places, the vines gather up and grow these rocky, flowery sorts of forms with little bubbling pools of goo in them. Touched one of those, and it let out this shrieking noise that lured the Xeno right out. It literally dug its way out of the ground to try and get me. Was a way bigger Xeno than I'm used to as well. The thing is nearly twice my height, has a glowing head, chest, and tail. Looked like a pretty tough customer, but luckily I noticed pretty quick that it can't see. A lot of folks don't know this, but most Xenos do have eyes, they just hide inside the thing's skulls. They can see out, but we can't see the eyes inside. Only know that because back in my killing days I carved through a few of them and saw the eyes firsthand. But I'm guessing this one ain't that same story. I kept my distance to start getting a read on this thing's skills and mannerisms, but at one point it definitely looked right at me and acted like I wasn't there. Plus, it was constantly making these clicking and growling noises that made it seem like the thing was using some sort of echolocation. That ain't to say this thing's gonna be a cakewalk to hunt. When it got a beat on me at one point, it ran so fast I barely had a second to react. Had to drop down into a narrow crevice to get away. The thing then dug into the ground a few feet above, and I was pretty sure it was gonna pop out of the cave wall and try and get me. Not that I couldn't have handled my own in that situation and fought it off, but I did stop moving, slowed my breathing, and stayed as quiet as possible. Didn't end up finding me. Got an idea of how I'm gonna trap this thing, but gotta use some tech I was hoping I wouldn't have to. Probably got no choice now though. Now, as I said, I think this is my favorite drawing of the episode. It is a tough call, but it's nice that with the Warden, who I've now drawn 3 times on the channel, once as a fantasy beast, once as a superhero, and now once as a Xenomorph, in all 3 cases, it's one of my favorite drawings in each of those series. I just think this is a super cool design. I really like how the colors turned out, the pops of the brighter, more vibrant, kind of glowy teal blue stands out nicely while not taking away from the rest of the design. But I think something that helps this drawing in the finished version, along with all of the other drawings in this episode, is the new background graphic design template I built for this episode. It's been a while since I built a new background element because most of the episodes I've done in the last little while have just been in existing series that I already do on this channel, where I already have background templates built. Like, I use the same ones for all my SCP episodes, the same ones for all my demon episodes. For things like dragon episodes, I draw the background in, so I don't need to use a templated background. But like when I did the Minecraft Superheroes episode, I built a fresh new background template, and like with that, I might still like the superhero ones a little bit better, the Minecraft superhero ones. That was a really nice background template, but this one I do think looks really cool. I used elements from Envato Elements, which I have a subscription to mostly for the music I use in my episodes, but there's also tons of different stuff like sound effects, graphic design templates, and fonts and stuff like that. So I pulled a few elements from there, and using those constructed this background that I think doesn't stand out too much to distract from the drawings, but just helps frame the characters, has a bit of a sci-fi look, and just really helps it feel like a more completed piece. And I guess after talking about it, we should take a look at what this drawing looks like with that background put in. Mission Log, Quest 1, Entry 3. Well, that worked. I tore one of those viney plant things out of the ground as close to the cave exit as I could. Xeno came crawling out, and I just made as much noise as possible while running towards the exit. As soon as the thing was close enough to gut me, I shot it with a repurposed Yautja net. Those Yautja may be roasting me for going the no-kill route lately, but that doesn't change that they got some pretty sweet tech. These nets of theirs usually shrink around the thing that they're trapping until it dices them to pieces. I just retooled it so it wraps them and restrains the thing it's around without killing it. Poor critter ain't gonna be happy all tied up like that for the whole trip to Ishgonigan Major, but figure for now it's the best I can do to keep from killing it. Got it in a cage now too, just in case, and it's loaded up onto the ship. Looks real uncomfortable and upsetting there, and I don't like seeing it. I mean, not that I care what a monster is feeling, obviously, but you know, we might as well still move as fast as possible to get it to the reserve quick. Anyway, last one I gotta get I don't think is gonna be too much of a problem once I find it. Already got a special tank rigged up in the loading bay. I'll drop the tank into the lake, still tethered to the ship, lure the fishy Xeno in, and we're good to go. Made sure the cage is laser proof too, because this is the first Xeno I hunted in a while that's got a long ranged attack. This one grew in the body of some fish beast thing with orange spikes all over its body that can shoot a laser from its eyes. Reports of the Xeno version say that it shoots its beam out of its mouth. It's also got no legs, just a long, snaky fish tail thing, and it doesn't come up out of the water for long. But when it does, it has arms so it can sort of claw and wriggle its way across land if it needs to. Because the thing can attack from a distance, that might make it harder to lure in close, but I got my tank rigged up with a reinforced glass divider. So I'll stay on one side of the glass, the thing tries to shoot at me from a distance, it'll hit the glass and not do anything to me. Then it'll hopefully try to swim in close, get trapped on the other side of the tank. I swim out, pull the thing up, and we're off to Ishgonigan Major and home free. I'll come back to Minecron 4 to check the mines for those eggs later. These things ain't meant to be cooped up in tiny little containment, and I can't stand to see the cute... You know what? Flarg it. I do think these things are cute looking. A lot of the things I've killed before I thought were cute looking, and that's why I can't do it anymore. Stick a puppy in front of me and I'm like, okay, whatever, it's a fluffy little mongrel, I don't care. But you show me a no-eyed, spiky, drooling monster like a Xenomorph, I can't look away. I don't know what it is, but most of the things that other people seem to think are monstrous and horrifying, I just think are adorable. So those Yautja jokers can say what they want. They think I ain't tough anymore for admitting I don't want to kill adorable alien monsters, and fine, whatever. But I ain't gonna pretend to just impress folks anymore. Bustar Terminax is not killing anymore, but that doesn't mean I ain't still the toughest bounty hunter in the skies. And I can beat down anyone who says otherwise. Now, funny enough, this is probably the one and only mermaid drawing I'll be doing in Mer-May, but at least I've got one. Mer-May, for anyone that doesn't know, being a monthly art challenge in May where you draw a different mermaid for each day of the month. Happy with the design of this one, don't have a ton to say about it, but I will instead talk about our narrator for this episode, Bustar Terminax. I was originally just going to do a throwaway, no-name character narration to describe the lore for these creatures, because I'd started thinking about possibly doing a space alien sort of narrator who is fascinated by different creatures in outer space. And then I was like, it seems like this will just end up being like a space version of my character Tayrin, who narrates my Dragon and Fantasy Monster episodes. And I didn't want to just be repeating myself too much. But then the idea came to me to do like a tough dude bro bounty hunter who's come to the realization that he thinks monsters are really, really cute, so he doesn't want to kill them anymore. And I was like, that is a pretty fun angle to go with this. He'll have different phrasing from Tayrin, who's much more eloquent and fascinated by the creatures. And so once that idea hit me, I was like, okay, I do like this. Let's go with it. I don't know if this character will be recurring. I think I could use them for a bunch of different sci-fi monster kinds of episodes, and specifically if I end up doing more Xenomorph episodes. But either way, I think it was a fun character to use for this episode, and let me know in the comments if you want me to bring him back. But for now, let's take a look at the last drawing of the episode.
I love how this turned out, and I am totally open to doing a round 2 of this, or just other things with Xenomorphs, Minecraft mobs. Give me whatever ideas you got in the comments. Plus, if you're new to the channel and you want more Xenomorph stuff, you might want to check out my Xenomorph SCPs episode. Or if you want more Minecraft, maybe my Minecraft mobs as superheroes and supervillains. Plus, if you want the inks from this episode to color yourself and access to the high-resolution art to download, for $5 a month on the PopCross Studios Patreon, you get access to all my high-resolution art and inks a day before a video drops on the channel. Plus, access to the Patreon-exclusive Design Notes podcast series, where I go more in-depth talking about my art and writing process. But besides that, that's all for today, except of course for ending this video on some kind of positive or inspiring note. And the thought I want to leave people with is kind of inspired by the realization our character has in this episode. That you shouldn't spend time pretending to be someone you're not just to impress other people. Because odds are, even if you end up succeeding in convincing people you're someone you're not, that just means you've achieved spending more time with people that don't know or maybe don't even like the actual you. If you be your true self, eventually you will find people that like you for who you are. I hope that's inspiring, I love you all, and I'll see you in the next episode on Monday, which is finally the SCPs as Dragons Community Redraw. I'll see you there, goodbye.